So happy to be here. So, guys, how do you work less and just enjoy more? Be alive, live your life more. That's the subject of today's, you know, thriving podcast. We are here to actually talk about how you get out of the way that the life that wants you and actually live from the dream that's dreaming you. Part of this is just a paradigm shift, and we're going to dive into that in just a moment. In the meantime, I want you to know that uh, we've been preparing. So, when we're preparing for an event, it's really intense. And I could fall into my corporate training where everything is carrying and working hard and doing more and thinking that I have to just be so incredibly focused in and force myself and don't take breaks, all that kind of stuff. But what's interesting is that when you change the entire way that you look at life, when you change the approach, and when you're actually relating to what you're doing as an excuse to express who you are, now all of a sudden it becomes fun. The other thing that I used to do is I used to do it alone. And finally, something that I did to sabotage myself was I would I would basically be alone in myself, lone wolfing without my, tapping into my greater wisdom. I do it just from my history-based brain, and I wouldn't involve my friends and colleagues who have all sorts of insights and creative ways to think about it, and oh my gosh, it's so much more fun when I do that. There is one more thing though. The reason I changed the way I approached everything is because I changed it according to the laws of quantum physics. And I understood how physics works and that I'm on the planet for a reason. And that through the laws of entanglement, there are always solutions that I haven't even thought of. And then my history-based brain doesn't doesn't hold much or carry, carry much light compared to the incredible light of all the resources of life, the infinite, the universe. And so coming up, we are involving ourselves with you in an experience that we're doing for 3 days, and that experience is called the Quantum Leap. We're actually teaching you all the stuff that switched the entire way that I do my life and that our clients do our lives, their lives, our clients don't do our lives, that our clients do their lives, how the paradigm through which they approach life. There starts to be an ease and a flow. There starts to be a powerful, powerful feeling that everything is being given to you. It stops being something that we go after rather than this life and the things that we do in every day. And I tell you, we couldn't have created this workshop in this coming weekend without the very tools and skills that we use in the Quantum Leap. Right? So from there, I'm excited to see you there if you're coming. And let's get into how do you? Are you curious? I'd love to know. And if you're just joining us right now, please put your comments in and all your questions into the comment field. And we are so happy to jump in with you. All right. A little story about this aspect of our conversation. How can I work less and feel alive more? Is there an age where you felt like you wanted to understand that better, like in your 30s or 40s? Are you finding that more now, whatever age you are? I'm finding that it's easier to feel like I'm in the rat race now because so many people are in emergency mode. And man, I am just not wanting to be in emergency mode lately. I'm feeling as though the flow is even more important to me. And from there, what came as especially as we were preparing for our current workshop. And I was looking at my husband just being immersed in something he's passionate about. And as, it's spring and there's so much to do around here, I was thinking to myself, all right, there's a next level way to actually feel like I'm playing all the time. There's a next level way to get a sense of that I'm not working as much. But it isn't about working less. Sometimes it is. And I want to share with you today the 3 ways that I've been playing more. One is remembering who I am and why I'm on the planet to such a great degree that my heart is incredibly inspired, right? So being fully present to why I do what I do instead of making it a doing this thing, remembering the difference that I'm making in the world and that we're making as a team, and that, why the Wide Awaken is even here, which is really an extrapolation of why I feel that I'm here. Do you have that? Do you have a mission statement for yourself? Do you have a vision for yourself? Do you know who you are and why you're here? Second thing is, in order to play more, what I've done is I've really trained, or we as a team, I would say, have really trained our chat GPT to actually take on um, outlines to help us get more creative, to help us be more creative, co-creative with the team. And the third thing that I think is probably the most important thing is to understand that whenever you create a project, there's always, uh, in order to even have an imagination to create something that you want to do, whatever that is. And I'd love to hear some of the things that you're up to. What projects have you always wanted to bring to fruition? What projects are like the dream that's dreaming you and it won't let you go? Like, you have to, must do this, right? What's that dream? I definitely have a dream that just came up right now as we were sharing. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, we got to do that. What's the dream that's dreaming you? Now, why do I say it that way? So this is the third way we turned it into play. Basically, I know that if I have a dream or an imagining, I know that quantum physics, that the field is the one that's playing with me, and that I lined my energy up to receive that idea. And if I can receive an idea, not from my history, a new idea, if I can receive a new idea because of who I've become, that next level of human being that I've become, if I can receive that idea, then all of the ways to get there have already been done in the field. And if I can receive the idea, I can also receive all of the ways that it's going to get done and the people that I'm going to meet. I can be inspired to do all the things and connect with all the people and take all the actions and kind of come from the up and the down and the left and the right, and kind of do the nonlinear things that get the exposure that just have everything come to me. The language of consciousness is passion. I was just reading something the other day that if you want everything, if you truly, it doesn't mean everything comes to you and you don't have to do anything. You absolutely have to do something. You absolutely have to do work. You're here to create. You're here to co-create. You're here to meet with people. You're here to come up with new ideas. You're a born creator. You definitely need to apply your skills and apply your brain to things and apply yourself to constructing and doing all this stuff. There's no question. But in the areas that you're stuck, the answers are already there. And since passion is the language of infinite wisdom, then when you get into your passion and you settle for nothing less than focusing all your energy on what you're passionate about your kids, what you are passionate about your business, what you're passionate about your life, all of a sudden everyone comes from everywhere because it is palpable, not only in the metaphysical universe, it's palpable in the three-dimensional universe where we're just relating to each other. People can feel each other, right? We can feel each other when we're in that world. And so that is something that's really important is that if you haven't made your sole focus your areas of passion, you're out of alignment with the entire universe. And you might think, well, but Jennifer, I have stories in the way and this in the way and that in the way. But with the world the way it is, we did a podcast in February about transcending your story. And I have to say that you can do all this work to transcend your story, but it's a lot harder to transcend your story from being inside your story, from being inside the beliefs that don't work and your fears. It's a lot easier to start engaging with your passion so deeply that it actually brings you up to the frequency of the solutions that would address the story. And from the higher perspective of you pursuing that, pursuing your passions, what happens is everything that's in the way seems a lot less significant. It has a lot less, I don't know, hold on you. I really would love to read you something that helped me. I'd love to read you something that helped me recently. Remember how I said the second thing we did is we started to look at the vision and mission. We created this overview for TWA that really speaks to what we do. Feel into how, when we did this, how it might completely change my magnetics, how I might start to, and now I'm reading it. I read it yesterday. I'm reading it today. I'm reading it to you. This is my second time reading it. How do you think something like this would really help you? And how do you formulate something like this, right? How do you create something like this? But first, hear me out. Just imagine reading something like this about your life every day. The Wide Awakening exists to catalyze a global movement of awakened beings who are ready to live in full alignment with their soul's design, activate their innate thriving operating system, and co-create a life of deep fulfillment, freedom, and exponential impact with grace, flow, and ease. We are here to liberate humanity from the outdated survival programming that keeps brilliant, heart-centered leaders playing small, looping in patterns, and disconnected from their innate genius. Through embodied teachings, multidimensional tools, and powerful experiential programs like the Quantum Leap, the people we guide remember who they truly are beyond the identities and coping mechanisms and live as the powerful creators they were born to be. Our mission, just listen to this. Our mission is to midwife the new human, sovereign, free, connected, and abundant, and in service to that which they love in their families, in their life and in the world. We're here to remind you that you're never broken, that you are designed to thrive, and that you were born for this time, and that you are not alone. This isn't just about dealing with the past. It's also not about healing. It's not about fixing. It's about reclaiming the original blueprint of who we are as luminous, eternal, creative forces and anchoring heaven into the bones of our everyday lives. Are you feeling activated yet, you guys? We are not here to teach people how to cope better with broken systems. We are here to end the age of survival on the planet, to dismantle the collective hypnosis that says we must earn our worth, abandon our knowing, or dim our joy in order to belong. The wide awakening is a living transmission, a frequency, a movement, a reclamation. It's for those who always knew there was more, for those who felt in their cells all of this, but didn't have the language, who came to be way showers, edge dwellers, and architects of a new world, but first had to remember who they are with all of their superpowers beyond the veil. This work isn't for the faint of heart. You get what I'm saying? You feeling the activation? That's you. So imagine me reading that. Imagine you having your version of that. What's your version of that? What activation can you use to remind you of all of that about yourself, about your life? How do you get to that place? Right? Because if you can get to that place, everything becomes your pleasure. When you're doing your work, it's your pleasure. When you're applying yourself to a project, you realize that that's who you are, and now it becomes a pleasure. Yeah. So I would say that the first two things we talked about, understanding how to align yourself so that you can actually be more receptive. The second thing being when you align yourself to who you are and you can actually remind yourself of who you are in an incredibly deep way, all of a sudden, as you apply yourself to your family, your work, your home, your world, it's a pleasure. And you start being willing to answer. So the third thing I'm going to say is around asking yourself the question, what's the greatest thing that I can do with the skills I already have that would make the biggest difference and have me waking up inspired? That's a question we ask all of our clients. What is, see, even my computer wanted to put an exclamation point on that. It's the greatest thing I can do. The skills I already have that would make the biggest difference, be the least effort, that would have me waking up inspired and going to bed knowing that I did what I came to the planet for. What is that? And it's more not a thing to do. It's actually a way of being. How can I live the dream that's dreaming me in every area of life, such that my way of being is a priority rather than what I do? And that my mission is so big that it is infused into everything I do. And then watch how magnetic you become. By the way, this is not about being Gandhi. It's not even about having a podcast. It's not about anything. It could be about your family. It could be about going to the grocery store. I don't know. Can you see how that would make life more playful, more creative? You would have a life that was being lived by a dream and that the dream actually gave you a way of being rather than that dream being something mental that you're trying to achieve. And hi to everyone who's joining us. So, my friends, as we come to a close today, I just wanted to say that actually being able to play isn't about taking vacations. What does it even look like? Yes, I mean, it's great to take a vacation. I take vacations every day, meaning I go for a walk up my street and look at all the blossoms and all that kind of stuff. But vacations are usually vacations from what you perceive as hard work or difficulty or something that you're struggling or something that where you're trying to gain approval from your boss or whatever. But what if life never was that? What if everything you do becomes a part of the dream that's dreaming you? Whether you work for a corporation, have your own business, or don't work outside the home, or you have your family, whatever it is. What if there's a dream that's dreaming you and you're already being it? You just haven't put words around it. And that if you could put words around it, you actually would have life be a lot more fluid. And using the laws of physics, everything would start to come to you. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it be? We do have the capacity to thrive together. Taking a vacation is great, but think of it more like a reset as opposed to something that you need to do in order to recharge your battery from all the stuff that you do that you have resistance to. That really is ultimately how you transcend working so hard. Now, a reset is very different than a vacation from the immersion into the depths of, projects where you have resistance. If the reason you were alive was actually present in your work and your family, with your relationship, then you would probably say different words to your kids or different words to your boss or different words to your potential clients. You wouldn't hold back so much. You'd be very clear. It wouldn't be so hard. People would feel the magnetism of your passion. Is this all making sense? I hope so. I really do. So, as I said, this weekend, that's what we're doing. So, if you are down for an experience in realigning yourself to your passion, who you are, why you're here, and infuse that into the rest of your entire life, then absolutely come and play. And as you watch these podcasts, we're going to be helping you with some guests, with some great conversation. And of course, we're so appreciative always of you participating in the comments and liking and following the podcast. So when you listen to this on replay, forward it to some friends. Maybe someone needed to hear this today. And I want you to know, there's someone who's saying that they've been dying in their dreams this past week. And I want to say this, that when we're dying in dreams, when we have dreams where we're dying, it really means that the old is dying. How we've been is dying. What we're looking for is an evolution or a revolution within ourselves. And I bet you a lot of people, you are not alone. A lot of people are probably looking for an evolution. A lot of people. Because right now with the world, with the intensity that's going on, it's a thing. As there is more polarity, more strife, more political stuff, more war stuff, more all of that stuff, the contrast actually causes the world to move much faster. It also causes people in their 20s and 30s to get ideas as to how to fix it. Not that we don't have them in 40s and 50s, but there's a lot of activity in those that are in their 20s and 30s. And there's lots of infrastructure shifts for people in their 40s and 50s. It's one of the most productive times of life, 40s, 50s, and 60s, actually. So no matter where you are in life, understand that whatever operating system is for that age that you're at, it's a time where a lot of people are going to be asked to die to themselves. So get excited when you have those kinds of dreams. It's like, I'm creating a blank slate. Something else is possible. Oh boy, what else do I get to play with? All right, you guys. So onward and upward, yeah? Here's to having an amazing life. Here's to quantum leaping what you're up to. Here's to actually having a mission statement for your entire life. Here's for being unwilling, being divinely intolerant to doing anything less than what impassions your heart. Here's to getting out of the way of the dream that's dreaming you so you can be fully available to what's calling you. You could do it. It takes a little bit of work. Here's what I would do if I was going to start to do that as we sign off. 1, I would listen to the book, actually, I wrote called Unstuck, The Physics of Getting Out of Your Way. The second thing I would do is I would have an inspiring, what we do is we actually talk about our day at the beginning of the day as though it's already over. We call it a future activation in the now. We talk about our day as though it's already been inspiring. We spend about 2-3 minutes creating a possible day. And we talk about it like it's in the past. So for instance, I might say I had the best day ever. It was so great. I made fabulous connections with people I've been calling. I came up with new ideas that I hadn't thought of before. I got super creative today. Took lots of breaks to let new ideas drop in. Felt so much love for our clients today. I'm talking about in the past tense. My biology catches up to it. Do it every single day. So every single morning. Sometimes I do it more. I just did it for a third time, in fact, with you. And the third thing I would do in order to get into play mode or into having more fun is I would understand that the entire universe thought you were a good idea. And the thoughts that you have that are less than that are basically thoughts that are arguments with infinite wisdom. So when you believe your father about you, or when you believe your mother about you, or when you believe society about who you are, what you're doing is you're believing a fallible human being over infinite wisdom that actually gave you life. And you get to choose. Are you going to believe infinite wisdom that actually miraculously had little cells split so that you finally had an entire body and then you were birthed out of a human reproductive system? I mean, that's pretty miraculous. Or are you going to believe a fallible human being that has their own baggage? You just get to decide. That's where I would begin. All right, you guys. I want you to have just really dive in. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, you have the power to transcend. You have the power to cause your own freedom. You are a force of nature, to be sure. You are creating things into being just through your speaking. We're doing that together. Until the next time, I hope you have an incredibly thriving life. Can't wait to see you next Monday. And see you soon. See you in the quantum leap.